Well, apparently our little warm streak is coming to an end, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. And I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I think I'm going to take my chances. I filmed Tuesday, and I showed you where I had planted a lot of melons. These are Ford Hook Gems. I planted, I think 3 more. And I planted a lot of other things around here, did a lot of wood chipping, and I got a lot done. I felt really good. Got some winter squash over here. And I'm gonna tell you what, ever since I put everything in the ground, it is just thriving. They're getting huge, they're loving it, and no complaints from me. But now what they're saying is we have some front coming through today, some rain, some thunderstorms, and that the temperature is going to drop to the low 40s on Monday and Tuesday. This is Sunday, March 12th. Since I filmed Tuesday, I've just decided that even though they say it's going to get in the low 40s, I don't think it's going to go lower than that, and that's a good bit above freezing. So I'm taking my chances that my plants will do okay. And I'm pressing forward. This little bed right here, which is just to the left of my azalea branch row, I put 5 Jubilee tomatoes in here, and I planted them kind of catty-cornered, jagged, and in between them I've put some melons, some Piel de Sapo melons, and 1 Pedigree de Rennes melon. I didn't show you this yet because I just finished it yesterday. I finished this row, which is right behind my azalea branch row. It kind of finished off this area, and it made it just look complete. All along this row, I've planted a variety of tomatoes and melons. Some Sierra Gold melons, a couple of honeydew melons. Along the back there is my Moskvich tomatoes. These front 3 tomatoes right here are my Tasty Lees, which are actually the only hybrid tomatoes that I have. So we're going to see how they do. The seedlings did pretty good. And down here, what do I have? Oh, down here, well, I have melons in the front, Sierra Gold melons, and along the back, I have Robe Mountain Tommy Toe tomatoes. But a lot more has happened that I haven't shown you. I have some new beds. I'm kind of following along the driveway is what I'm doing. My friend had a tiller, an old antique tiller, not the regular just tine tiller like you walk behind. This one is pulled by a tractor. It's exactly 4 foot wide. So I just took a can of spray paint and I marked a line here by my driveway, and he just went down it, and it doesn't dig really deep. Basically what it did is just took the grass off the top and went down just a couple of inches and just kind of got to the roots of the grass. But I'm all about putting the wood chips and all. You can see I'm putting wood chips around everything because I'm just trying my best to keep all this grass out of my beds this year so I don't have tons of weeding to do. That's my theory. I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping every time I kind of see grass pop up, I can just come back and add more and more wood chips around the edges especially, and even around the plants if I need to, and kind of take care of it. I'm going to try maybe not to put it around the plants right now. I'm going to let things grow and get a little more established, and then if I see I need to, I will. But just taking things one day at a time. I'm not sitting here with a lot of gotta do this, gotta do that things in my mind. I'm kind of letting my land talk to me, letting my land just speak to me. And right now, it's just telling me, plant, just plant. What I'm trying to do is kind of put tomatoes, and then back behind them, I'll kind of put melons. And the melons will go out into the yard. The tomatoes will go up. They're not really competing against each other. That being said, I only have so much room, so I did have to plant a lot of tomatoes in some parts. Right here, the front side of the 2 poles has lima beans. I planted them this morning. I soaked them and inoculated them, and they hopefully will come up, within the week. And I'm going to put some wire or some string or something that they can climb. Behind them, all these melons along the backside there, all along there, are mainstream cantaloupes, and they're supposed to store really well and be a good storage cantaloupe. So all down here, I did have to go ahead and put tomatoes back to back, which is okay. It's all right. I have Cherokee purples, some Whirly reds, and I think I don't even know what's on the other side. Oh, Mary Rose McMurray. Mary Rose McMurray, which is the only paste tomato that I'm planting. And it's an heirloom seed from Sustainable Mountain Agricultural Center. So anyway, he did me that one bed, and I asked him if he would do this one too. So I painted some a line, and he went down the line and did me a second bed. And you can kind of see how it's following along the driveway. And I think just coming in and out every day, this is just going to give me so much joy to be able to see the tomatoes, check on them. They are, I guess, farther from my house than all the other tomatoes and stuff. But still, I think the idea of this is on my way to the mailbox. This is on my way to take the trash can out. This is on my way to drive in and out of the driveway. So I'll still be able to be very, very observant and hands-on with these tomatoes. And just not only that, but I love just walking around looking at everything that's growing. Down here, I kind of had to load up on tomatoes because I didn't have any melons left, and I had a lot of tomatoes left. But got your Paul Robesons, Super Sues. Again, I'm putting lima beans to the front and some tomatoes to the back. Down here, some more Eva purple balls, Amana orange, and some Whirly red. Can't remember which one's over here. Oh, it's the Wilson Yellow Gold, which is another kind of rare heirloom variety from Sustainable Mountain. So got those done, and turning around here, I have the beginnings of my corn patch. I really want to try to grow 2 varieties of corn here. I want to plant something that'll kind of come up and get going quick. I'm going to look at my chart and just kind of see, and then I'm going to plant probably one of my older varieties like Mosby Prolific, something that's more of a 100-day corn that'll take a while. I don't want them tasseling and pollinating at the same time, so I've got to think it all through. But I'd like to have 2 varieties, and I feel like I could easily have a little good stand of 2 different varieties here. My dirt pile is getting used. I've also used some off the other side, so it's slowly but surely getting used. What I do, if it's for a bed, if it's for my tomato beds over there, or where my pole beans were, what I do is I take my wheelbarrow and I go to that wood chip pile, and believe it or not, I really didn't realize I had pine trees anywhere. I guess I had pine trees because I'm kind of, every now and then when I'm digging in it, I'm hitting this mother lode of pine straw. So apparently some pine straw and all was chipped up in there and is in my pile. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of picking out that pine straw, and it's going to have wood chips in it too. I'm not just loading up on wood chips though. I'm trying to really go for the pine straw with some wood chips mixed in it. And I put that in my wheelbarrow, and then I take it over to my dirt pile and I mix them all together. I just keep adding dirt and mixing until I have a really good, it feels more organic to me. It's not just simply dirt that runs through your fingers. The pine straw and the wood chips kind of give it moisture, and it gives it more like a flower bed type situation. And then I take that and I go put it in my bed. And I think it's going to help my beds stay more moist than they would stay to just have dirt. So this wood chip pile has just been such a big blessing. I just wanted to show you, this is the little box tiller thing that he brought. It's old. I love the color green. Antique green is my favorite color. Anything that's antique green, I just love it. But it just kind of flops down on the ground, and the weight of it digs into the soil a few inches. Like I said, it doesn't go down 8-10 inches. It just goes down a couple of inches and pulls that grass off the top, digs you a few inches of good dirt down in there. And I think when he comes back, it might even do me a little more dirt, because I do need a little more dirt to be able to hill up that corn. I keep finding things that I forgot to show you, but at the end of this ramp here, I did get my soil brought in, and I went ahead and planted tomatoes. And I just decided to plant my Italian heirloom tomatoes here. They're kind of bookended on each end with a honeydew melon, so the melon can just kind of go out wherever it wants to go. But I think that worked out good. And I got these little beds at the end of my carport done. I planted a tomato at each end. You can see it down there. These are Mamie Brown's pink tomatoes. I only ended up with 2 that survived the seedling process of those tomatoes. So I bookended these beds with those. And then I planted the Ideal Market beans there, and I planted the Blue Lake stringless beans there. Along the end of my trailer here, between the ramp and the house, which is the end I see when we're pulling up in the car, I had planted corn salad. And I do have some corn salad coming up. It's some of it, that's a corn salad plant right there. I have dirt all over my hands, but that's a corn salad plant right there. That's a corn salad plant right there. And there's lots of other little ones. They're very slow coming up, but they're there. But they don't like heat, and they do like shade. If you're going to plant them when it's hot, which it's starting to get hot around here, it says you want to have shade. Well, they get no natural shade here except in the afternoon when the sun goes to the west. So I decided we're going to plant tomatoes here too. So about every 2.5 feet, I planted a tomato, and of course these will spread out, and they might even crowd out some corn salad. But what I'm hoping that it'll do is it'll at least provide some shade, some guaranteed shade, that if this corn salad wants to get in the shade and decide to grow, it'll have it. It's at least I won't lose it to just heat, and I won't be wasting this bed, because I don't want to waste this whole bed waiting on corn salad that may or may not like our weather here in Louisiana. The tomatoes at this end are Mexico Midget, which is a cherry tomato. I put 2 Iroquois cantaloupe melons there. Well, they're musk melons. They're not technically a cantaloupe, but they look like a cantaloupe. Those are 2 Iroquois melons there that can kind of spread out. It's no problem. And then down at this end is Matt's Wild cherry tomatoes. There's a method to this madness. I wanted to put the cherry tomatoes as close to my house as possible, because you have to harvest them so much. They're so prolific if they grow good, and I'm assuming they will. And the Mexico Midget did great for me last year, so I don't see why they wouldn't grow good this year. The Matt's Wild cherry is supposed to be pretty prolific too, and I can just come down this ramp, jump off, and start picking. I'm not walking across my yard. I can do this without really being seen too much if I need to come out and do it early in the morning or something. And so I'm happy to have these right here. When you're walking up on my porch to go to the door, I left this area open because I'm going to build steps. I don't want to have to always go down that ramp to get off of my porch and to go do things. So I'm going to build steps. No, they haven't gotten done. It is a process for me to finish every little thing I need to do, but they're going to get done. I put some steps down there where I believe the stringers are going to land. That's not necessarily exactly accurate, but I think that's about where the stringers would land. So the steps would go here. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to put a big wood chip trail that's going to curve around that flower bed and come back to here. And the wood chip trail will kind of curve around and go towards the back of the trailer if I need to jump off of the porch, and go down and go feed the dogs, or go check on anything, or, just want to not have to go down the ramp. So I'll have that little wood chip trail. And so over the last few days, I put in a nice flower bed here. I mixed up, it took a lot of loads, but I mixed up a lot of that dirt with a lot of that pine straw and mulch from the wood chip pile, and I put it over here. But I love it now when I'm walking up on this porch and I see that it's like a finished looking flower bed. I just love it. And I'm gonna step down, I'm gonna go back down the ramp and go around, and I'm gonna show you what all I've planted. Okay, so my bed here, I put, I'm thinking outside the box. I took some of my wire mesh stuff that I have, I let it roll into a circle, and then I used a crimping little tool and crimped it to make a circle. I cut the wire off of the bottom so that the little strips would just go straight in the ground, and so that's what's holding them in the ground. And then I put some bamboo sticks to kind of brace it. I put the bamboo sticks way down in the ground, and then I clamped them to these little wire cages. And the reason I'm doing all this is because I had started 2 Kajari melons in my seed starting. Both of them came up, did great. Both of them still look great. They look wonderful since I put them in the ground. They're doing good. And Kajari melons can grow long vines and need some bracing. This may or may not be enough. I've seen people growing them all on cattle panels and everything. But this is what I had. This is what I had, and this is what I'm using right now, and I'm going to see how far it'll go. And how it does. I'm just kind of hoping it'll be a little something. I can always put a T-post in there and do some wiring or string if I need to somehow. Along the back of the bed, there are 8 artichoke plants. My artichoke plants did wonderful. I was even able to give 2 of them to some friends. They didn't get very big, but they had just kind of stopped growing inside and how I was doing it. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna put them in the ground. I'm kind of tough loving my plants this year. I'm kind of tough loving them. And once I put them out here in the ground, they have started doing a lot better. They look happy. Their little branches are up every day. They look happy, and I think they're going to grow, and I think they're going to do fine. All along the edge, along the front of this bed and wrapping around behind those steps there, all along there is some bush beans that I planted that are more, they go to be a dried bean. You don't harvest them as a snap bean. You let them go ahead and be a dried or a shell bean. And they're called Kebarika beans. I had bought them from Seed Savers Exchange a couple years ago, and I grew some at my other house. The plants just kind of look like a bush bean plant, but they're beautiful. And when they put off the beans and the beans dry, they're purple and navy, and they're just gorgeous. And I just wanted to grow them again. It's not really a practical thing. It's not, to sell or anything like that, but I just wanted to grow them. What I did was I popped a couple of squash plants there. I put some gray zucchini seeds here. Not a lot. I don't want to crowd out everything. I just put 3 or 4 zucchini seeds there. And I think I put a couple of zucchini seeds down here. And then in between the artichoke plants, like in between them, I did put General Lee cucumber seed. And I did that all the way down. And those can kind of go towards the house. They can branch out and go all around those wood chips over there. The artichoke plants, I don't look for them to get so big that they shade out those cucumbers. Even if they do provide a little shade, that might be good for the cucumbers. And the cucumbers can go back towards the trailer without any impediment and grow. So I'm trying to make the most out of this bed without crowding everything out. But at the end of the bed, I went ahead and did me another little branch thing for beans. I planted some Limca Romano beans here at the corner, and you harvest them like a green bean, but they get really thick like a Romano bean. I had a few of these little poles left, and I wanted to use them up, and I think it's beautiful. And it kind of hides those boards that I still haven't finished my ramp with yet, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to get some of these things done. You have to get going on all of this planting and get these beds in, because first of all, I had seedlings. Second of all, there's just certain things like cucumbers and all that want to be planted right now. And if I don't put my mind on that and get all that done, then I'm late. I'm behind the game. And so I can come back to things like the ramp and all. I don't want to stress over all those things right now when I really need to be working on my flower beds. I planted the rest of the Hessel Sugarloaf melons here and the Golden Jenny melons. That's all I had of those. I think they'll do great in this bed. I'm tough loving my plants. I put them outside about a week ago, most of them, some longer than that. And they just started thriving. They didn't want to be inside anymore. They didn't want to be under those lights anymore. I was tired of babying them every night and worrying to death about them. I put them outside and I just said, you sink or swim. I said, sink or swim. I mean, I took the best care I could of them. I didn't put them in the direct sunlight right off the bat. I put them in kind of dappled light. But after a little while, I just said, you know what? Grow. Just grow. And they're doing good. It seemed like the less I babied them, the better they were doing. So we're going to see. We're going to see how they do with this weather. This is Lainey from Hilltop Home Place. Still loving the azaleas. They're still blooming and doing good. Trying to enjoy them while we can. Thank you for joining me today. Y'all have a great week. Bye-bye.